Hey, y'all. Yay. Y'all make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We keep you busy over here. Yay. Happy birthday to you. And many, many more. Yeah, I'm trying to do this live without kind of get a little bit affectionate, you know, because her father passed away. We're going to get into Naziyah'S. I want to get a shout out to 7 Miles. He did an outstanding job on interviewing the father. So one of the interview will be coming from him, from the father point of view. The father name was Marvin Jennings. That's Naziyah'S father. Okay. Naziyah'S father had dark secrets as well. Okay. He had dark secrets, and we're going to get into it. And if he hadn't been keeping secrets like he was doing, then we wouldn't, you know, then his wife would have came and got and visit Naziyah'S. So what goes in the dark comes to the light. So shout out to all my late nighters. And before we get into, close my screen though and start letting all them flies up in here. Yeah. Now look, y'all. What do you think about Naziyah'S father? What did y'all think about Naziyah'S father? Because we're going to get into his interview. I really want to do the interview with, like I said, shout out to 7 Miles Radio, because he was the one doing, they really were doing the interview with him. I guess he's from where they from. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into, I'm going to react to the father video, okay? I'm going to react, okay? All right, y'all.
All right, y'all. It's about that time, man. I am waiting for everybody to connect to the broadcast.
I love y'all.
We out there day and night, but every time we went, they were in the house. They did the.
Hold on, y'all.
All right, y'all. Father here. They seem to be having some technical difficulties connecting to the. I may just have him call in through the phone line and do it that way. Because I'm still over here setting up to my. All right.
I'm gonna start it right now,
So
y'all.
we couldn't get you on the video chat, man. I really wanted to, kind of talk face to face with you digitally, man, and had this conversation with you. But just first off, man, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm just frustrated, hurt, confused, just everything. And just trying to stay alive. That's about it. Trying to stay alive.
There you. Now, when you spoke to me last night, you said that you had like no idea about what was going on in regards to this situation. So, what did you know, or what didn't you know, as far as what's going on?
So, I was, I got a really, really bad heart. Operates at 5%. So I was in a hospital when the police contacted me. And so it took me by surprise. So they asked if they could give the grandmother the number. I'm like, yeah, because, we had lost contact. So they gave her the number. So I continued talking to the police. Everything, like she said, everything that this woman has said, it's been like in a common way. Like, she's a straight A student. She sent me pictures of, like young pictures, like to where in my mind, I'm like, okay, my baby's still okay, So with Naziyah and Naziyah mom, just briefly, okay, we had made an agreement when she was born that the grandmother would take care of her. Now, the grandmother needed full rights to be able to provide full care. So we both signed over our rights to the grandmother. I put myself on child support. Now, once you did that, I put myself on child support. I was still going over their birthdays, taking clothes, everything. When I had this procedure done to my heart, I didn't have a phone for a while because I was in hospital. They put a defibrillator pacemaker in. I had to go to rehab to work, so I lost contact. When I got out of there, they had moved, so I couldn't get in contact with them. Now, forward 3 or 4, maybe 5 years later to now, however much time that was, now my daughter's missing. And that's when the police came down. Okay, so that's briefly.
Okay. Now, I want to say, without, I don't mean no disrespect by it, but without getting into too much your business, your personal business, I guess as deep as you want to go. Why was?
Yeah, the guy who doing the interview is 7 Mile Radio. He was one of the guys that from the state, from where they from, I guess. And they were comfortable talking to him. So he would interview them. And that's Naziyah'S father who's speaking.
That you felt like you needed to give your rights up to her as opposed to raising her yourself if you knew that the mother was in whatever condition that she was in where she couldn't take care of her. Why didn't you take her?
All right, so I made a decision. For one, without my wife knowing. See, I'm married, so I made a decision without my wife knowing. And her name is Chantel. Tail knew my position where I was in because we had worked together, and we had told the grandmother, the situation. So, and I know people are gonna go ham or whatever, but I tried to be as responsible as my mind at that time could take. And I didn't run. I ain't, everybody want to say something. Go get them other guys that ain't taking care of this and ain't taking care of that. I took care of it. So, it was only because at that time in my.
What hurt me about this situation right here? People think just because they just pay child support, they doing something, but they not spending time with their children. That's the main thing. Part. Oh well, I will let the grandmama take care of the child. Why y'all always doing that? Putting them babies on the grandmama, and then I'll pay child support. I put myself on child support, so I pay child support. The main thing is getting that girl some love and affection. Attention, not affection, but attention. For her, from a father point of view and from a stepmother point of view because he was married. So just because you pay child support and you're not seeing about your child, that's not good. You're supposed to pay child support and be with your children. Remember that, y'all.
I was trying to protect my wife's feelings without her even knowing.
That's selfish.
Without her even knowing.
So when you said you made
that real selfish. That's real selfish. For those who out there cheating like that, if you think that you got another child on the side, share it with your wife. She might not want to hear it, and I know you know it's gonna upset her. Just tell her in a way. Just tell her in a way because this could have been prevented. The wife could have been going over there while he was in the hospital. She could have been going over there to the new place where they moved and they couldn't get contact with him as well because she moved. She wasn't trying to call him. She was trying to move. So when she moved out of their house, she don't know. Naziyah grandmama didn't know that he uh uh was in the hospital. But then when we found out, then everything changed. A lot of stuff happened.
made a decision without your wife knowing. The decision was to give up custody of your daughter, or was it what was the decision?
To sign the rights over so the grandmother can do full, so she'll be able to provide anything that she needed as far as funding, stake, whatever she might need.
So you made that decision without your wife. So do you feel like had you told your wife the situation, she would have what? Maybe convinced you to take her, or convinced you to do what you
know what? Now, when all this happened just now, I even apologized to my wife because I took away my wife's ability to, have her own feelings for the situation, and I knew that, and I had to have that conversation again with my wife. I've not done what I've done. I know for sure this situation wouldn't happen, and it's tearing me apart because she would have had the two homes to go to and come to, and a lot of stuff. But my background growing up, it wasn't. I mean, I think it's still, you gotta understand, everybody don't make right.
When your background finished talking, I wonder why he ain't finished talking. Just tell them how your background was. That was then. That's your past. I mean, tell it. Don't be trying to beat around the bush. Jesus.
Everybody just hear the story. Oh, he should have done this. I'm pretty sure you should have done some things too. Now, I'm just being upfront and truthful about what happened at that time. That's all I'm doing. Right. And I wanted, if somebody want to
I'm not feeling sorry for him. Just go on to talk and stop trying to make somebody feel sorry for it. I know at that time, I know he passed away and everything. But the thing is, stop talking about other people. We talking about you and Naziyah. You and Naziyah, the fat that you put on the kid.
That's fine, but I still don't want to get away from me putting the information out here that I do know.
Okay, right.
For the main reason we're here.
Yeah, most definitely.
But I do think people deserve a background like where is this guy being though?
And that's what that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, who are you? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, whatever the situation may be. So I was just trying to give you a platform to speak your piece and say what you had to say as far as how you felt about the situation, and as well.
It's a war relation.
This particular situation came about. They're telling you that this is something that never happened, and they weren't worried about it as if they was expecting her to come back home anytime soon.
Right. No, correct. Now I want to say this. Now at this time they were dealing with I wanted more information, so I got out of the hospital. I wasn't even supposed to be walking. I'm on a medicine that keeps my heart pumping. I wasn't even supposed to be walking. I got nurses calling me because they was concerned to the police. And I'm out there, me and my wife passing out flyers, my sister, my son, my nephew, we out here passing out flyers. And I would stop over at Mom's house and try to get, direction of where I should go, what's going on. And she would just come out. She said, oh, yeah, we out passing them out earlier. And this and that. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do this. We out there day and night. But every time we went, they were in the house. And then the twins, like, I know them. They never came out the house. So I said, what's going on over here? So one day I went over there, or I was having a conversation with the grandmother. She said, I don't know why everybody want to ask where, like, Chantel got an older son. I think he's around 70, 18 now. They want to talk to him. I don't know why the police want to talk to him. He ain't got nothing to do nothing with it. You see what I'm saying? It's just her attitudes started changing.
Okay, so now you're saying that, right? Basically, you're saying all of that to say that, you notice red flags about certain situations, and you probe them and ask them about it, and they act suspiciously, I guess, to say, for lack of a better way to explain it.
Right. Now, when we was trying, I said, Mama, and after a while, I'm like, Mama, we done put these flyers up. All the kids that we talking to, they're saying they know her, but they ain't seen her in 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's about when the thing happened. And ain't nobody seeing her, but Mama telling me they seeing her running up and down the street. And I'm trying to keep calm. Now, after we go through, and I'm going to jump right back, DPS and the Detroit Police Department, they do have a certain procedure and protocol on how they do things. If it's a runaway, I think they treat the situation different than a missing person. I don't know. Now that all this came out, I think she was reported as a runaway. And I think that was set up like that. I really do. I really do think it was set up like a runaway for time purposes. And I'm simply saying that because I asked Grandma, I said, now look, Mom, I just want to ask a few more questions. Let me tell you this. Now, we was talking, and she had told me the summertime, oh, yeah, she's a straight-A student. She even went to the summer school classes and everything. So they had said that I pulled up, a guy was at the school in a pickup truck, and Naziyah had went out there to the pickup truck. And the principal had supposedly went out there and said, who were you talking to who was that? Naziyah turned around and said, this is my dad. So the lady was like, yo, Dad. So when she started walking towards it, they said the guy pulled off. So the Naziyah came back in. So I said, well, Ma, I didn't know where y'all lived at. She was like, yeah, because we moved. I said, well, ain't nobody called me. She was like, well, we tried to call, the number didn't go through. I said, Mama, I was in the hospital so long, I don't even know where that phone was. I said, so, and if anything, what happened, I will call you. She was like, I know you're very respectful. So I'm not thinking of the conversation. So we still talk. I said, well, what did she say? She said she asked her what that she said. She looked at her and said, that's my daddy, Anna. And she was like, that is not your dad. And that. So I think she said she started crying or whatever. And she said, we'll deal with this later. So I'm like, okay. So now going back real quick. Now, mind, I told you when we got out, we was passing out flyers. I would go over there and ask her, what area should I go in? She was like, well, go down there to Chatsworth, on Chatsworth. So I guess the back of the school sits on Chatsworth. I said, well, why would I go down there on Chatsworth? She was like, because that's when Naziyah walked through the field and met with that guy at the truck. I said, so she walked through the back of the school, Mom, and walked through the field? I'm trying to figure out.
So you say all of that to say that they knew that she was possibly dealing with somebody out of her age range and was not doing nothing about it?
Something ain't sounding right. It's a little girl in the 7th grade away from the school. They don't count the kids. They don't check the roll. I mean, Naziah is all over the place. I just don't understand that. If it ain't the school, it's the people. What do they see her like we see her?
Now, I'm about to tell you some more stuff. I just wanted to give you that scenario. Now, Naziah is smart, okay? If that was the case, I believe she was covering up for somebody. He didn't want them to get exposed. Now, as I listen to your podcast,
that's over age.
that she knows, yep, that she knows, and they not her age. Now that I listen to your story, and it's like this guy who's one of the twins' boyfriend. You see what I'm saying? And this guy's supposed to have all this sexual misconduct junk and all this nasty stuff. Okay, red flag. Yeah, I believe that's him. I believe it's him. Because I don't know none of this. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say it's this guy, but I believe it's him. I just heard about this yesterday. So now before all this, me and mom was having a conversation. I said, well, Mom, how did you manage? She said, well, I think Shan, one of the twins, her man would pick up the kids from school sometimes, take them up to his shop, and they would clean up and work up there, and she would go pick them up. So I'm thinking, like, well, maybe this is the guy she was protecting. This before I even know this guy was a pedophile. So, I'm like, okay, Ma, we need to look into that. She was like, no, because he ain't with her no more, or whatever that she might have said, So I'm thinking like, okay. But now I listen to your podcast and I'm putting two to two together. So your podcast, I listened to that last night, right?
Right.
That night I texted the grandmother. I said, oh my God, I can't believe you. I said, twin, like this shit really hurt. I said, y'all sick over there. I said, 7 kids, like 5 with this got 7. You know what I'm saying? But I asked Mama before I sent them texts, who is Jarvis? This woman sat up there and act like she ain't know who he was, and then was like, oh,
wow. And that's what she did before in the court, as if she didn't know he'd be downstairs. Come on now.
Right, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, man. And I don't appreciate you sharing your experience.
It's nobody, and we got all the flyers. So if you want to come out and help, that'd be a blessing too. All right. Hey, thank you.
Now that was Naziah Harris' father on with the interview of 7 Miles Radio. He has a YouTube and a Facebook page, and there everybody is very comfortable speaking to him. So let's hear from is this story gonna be different from what the dad says on the media and on the podcast? Let's see. Did his story change or did it remain the same? Because he got a bad heart, y'all. He passed away. Okay, let me and this Naziah, this is we haven't she gone and the coat gone too, honey. Ugh. Okay, let's put you right there, Naziah. Put this right here. I wish the dad had made better decision and told his wife what was going on. You know what I mean? Then the wife could have looked out for the child. Why he gone? Let's see. Okay. Hold on, y'all. So I can make sure y'all see that. Okay. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Okay. Here we go.
More than 4 months since 13-year-old Naziyah stepped off a school bus and disappeared.
Now her family is still waiting for answers and renewing their pleas for someone to come forward with information.
Naziyah was last seen back on January 9th at the intersection of Cornwall and 3 Mile Drive.
Now the primary suspect in her disappearance is a registered sex offender currently being held in the Wayne County Jail.
Well, 7 News Detroit reporter Ryan Marshall is live at the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice in downtown Detroit, where the family will gather for a vigil later this morning. Ryan? Well, guys, the family of that missing Detroit teen still seeking justice in this case. That includes Naziyah's biological father, who exclusively spoke with 7 News Detroit. He is fighting for his own life, but is holding on to find his little girl. I know the family hopes and prays that she is still alive. But if you get that phone call, that's why I'm getting back in the ministry. 48-year-old Mervyn Jennings is Naziyah Harris's biological father. He says he's tried to reconnect with his daughter for the past 8 years.
He said that's why he was gonna get back into ministry. Really?
Jennings says he was only reconnected after 2 Detroit Public Schools police officers tracked him down. When the last time you been up to your daughter's school? I said, my daughter's school. I said, I don't even know what school she goes to. I said, I've been looking for her. And they looked at each other, and I was like, what's going on? They said, your daughter's missing. He's dealt with serious medical issues in the 8 years away from Naziyah. Jennings has congestive heart failure. He says in April, doctors gave him only 7 days to live. While that prognosis has slightly improved, Mervyn needs a new heart. While dealing with challenges, Mervyn says what really hurts his heart, I believe my daughter was pregnant. Yeah. He says much of the family thinks Naziyah was being sexually assaulted by a man who is a convicted sex offender. We're not naming him because he hasn't been officially charged in the case. Oh my God. They're like, oh my God. Oh my God. You know, what's done in the dark is gonna come.
And I noticed something about the grandmother. She run the men's away. Cause you remember Naziyah's brother got old enough to pay attention to stuff. So they got him out the way. And then the daddy, he know what's going on. They got him out the way. It's weird. But they never did get Jarvis out the way. Yeah, he the baby dad, I guess.
You can't do this. You can't do this, man. And get this, registered sex offender has been molesting her since she was 12 years old. They are holding out hope that Naziyah will come home alive.
Wow. I just want to bring that interview in with her dad in it. That's all, y'all. Her dad crossed my mind. You know, Naziyah father crossed my mind. And Naziyah, the daddy, and the father and the daughter gone. All right, y'all like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.